Rajdeep, do comment on that. Hazar Varsh ka wo jo Kalkhand the Prime Minister refers to, 1000 years. This Gulami that some refer to of 200 years of British, the Prime Minister doesn't just refer to those 200 years. The Prime Minister refers to 1000 years. He says small principalities were divided, invaders came, they looted us, enslaved us for long. Don't repeat that mistake. Don't be divided, Rajdeep.
Well, Gaurav, if you look at that aspect of Gulami se Azadi, he used it even in 2022. You will recall in 2022 also, the Prime Minister spoke about the need to take on colonial legacies, need to sort of take pride in culture and build an Atmanirbhar Bharat. That was a theme, an overarching theme of his speech last year. This time, whatever he said was tempered by the reality that we have an election, a general election in 7 months. So every now and then he would refer to the politics of his opponents. I think that's the distinction I would draw between Prime Minister Modi delivering his 10th speech and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh delivering his 10th speech. Remember, in 2013, ahead of the 2014 elections, the Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, then was an embattled Prime Minister, but he would deliver his speeches at Independence Day without targeting his opponents. He would provide an audit of the achievements of his government. Prime Minister Modi is different. Not only does he provide an audit of his achievements, or what he believes are the achievements of his government, he also uses the platform to target his opponents. And he did so on more than one occasion. And he does what Rahul Srivastav just mentioned, personalizes those achievements to suggest that so long as he is there, he will provide a stable government. He will ensure that India gets its place in the world. You saw the references to G20 on more than one occasion. The Prime Minister wants to use this period to suggest that this is a rising India whose time has come. He spoke about how we moved from a fragile 5 to one of the top 5 economies. So I think what he's doing is trying to identify himself with completely with this idea of a rising India, and thereby almost create a sense of inevitability that if India wants to rise, then you've got to go along with Prime Minister Modi. The references, as I said, to Manipur were on 2 occasions, but they were not, they were not a running theme at all of the speech. The speech was very much more feel-good, positive, glass half full. And while Mr. Modi does that, he also uses the occasions to target his opponents, speaking out against what he calls dynastical politics, claims that he's being targeted because he's taking on corruption. So almost playing the role of victim there, and once again, almost harking back to where he started off, Gaurav, in 2014. You'll recall his speech, na khaunga, na khane dunga. So that was 2014, now it's 2023. The only difference now is that there will be a measure of cynicism when it comes to corruption. For example, given the compromises that the BJP at times has made in bringing together various governments or toppling various governments, like here in Maharashtra. So I think Mr. Modi is aware of those limitations and therefore wanted to give a much more positive spin on the achievements of his government while recognizing what are the weaknesses of his opponents. The most visible weakness to me is stable, strong leadership that Mr. Modi claims he embodies versus the fact that pitted against him, he seems to suggest are parties which are there only for self-preservation. I think that will be the running theme running into the 2024 campaign as well.
Parivarvad, parties that according to the Prime Minister are for the family, by the family. But, this reference to a 1000-year period when India was enslaved by invaders, and that period should not return. I'll come to Charu Pragya and Sujata Paul for that in just a moment. But let's just quickly listen in to the Prime Minister when he talks about his achievements from 2014 to 19 that enabled his government to return in 2019, when he talks about perform, transform, reform. Let's listen in.
देश में बड़े स्तर पर काम हो रहा है, और लेकिन मैं कहना चाहूंगा 2014 में आपने एक मजबूत सरकार बनाई, और मैं कहता हूं 2014 में और 2019 में आपने एक सरकार फॉर्म की, तो तो मोदी में रिफॉर्म करने की हिम्मत आई। आपने ऐसी सरकार फॉर्म की कि मोदी को रिफॉर्म की हिम्मत आई। और जब मोदी ने एक के बाद एक रिफॉर्म किए तो मेरे ब्यूरोक्रेसी के लोग, मेरे लाखों हाथ पैर जो हिंदुस्तान के कोने कोने में सरकार के हिस्से के रूप में काम कर रहे हैं, उन्होंने ब्यूरोक्रेसी ने ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के लिए परफॉर्म करने की जिम्मेवारी बखूबी निभाई और उन्होंने परफॉर्म करके दिखाया और जनता जनार्दन जुड़ गई तो वो ट्रांसफॉर्म होता भी नजर आ रहा है। और इसलिए रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म, ट्रांसफॉर्म ये कालखंड अब भारत के भविष्य को गढ़ रहा है।
Now, reform, perform, transform, that enabled the Prime Minister to return in 2019, but now he seeks another 5-year mandate to take India to the developed country tag by 2047. But before I come to that aspect and bring in our guests, the Prime Minister started his address from the ramparts of the Red Fort with a reference to what had happened in Manipur. Let's listen in.
मेरे प्यारे परिवारजनों, पिछले कुछ सप्ताह नॉर्थ ईस्ट में, विशेषकर मणिपुर में और हिंदुस्तान के भी अन्य कुछ भागों में, लेकिन विशेषकर मणिपुर में जो हिंसा का दौर चला, कई लोगों को अपना जीवन खोना पड़ा, मां बेटियों के सम्मान के साथ खिलवाड़ हुआ। लेकिन कुछ दिनों से लगातार शांति की खबरें आ रही हैं। देश मणिपुर के लोगों के साथ है। देश मणिपुर के लोगों को पिछले कुछ दिनों से जो शांति बनाए रखी है, उस शांति के पर्व को आगे बढ़ाएं और शांति से ही समाधान का रास्ता निकलेगा। और राज्य और केंद्र सरकार मिलकर के उन समस्याओं के समाधान के लिए भरपूर प्रयास कर रही है, करती रहेगी।